friends, welcome back to my channel. I decided to make another video. I already filmed this video 2 times, but then my camera crashed and erased everything. Don't ask me about my outfit. Am I going to a hockey game? No. Am I even a fan of hockey? No. This is just what I'm wearing. I'm sorry I yelled. The hat was immediately too warm, so I've taken it off. And I'm calm now. I've calmed down. A few things have happened recently. One, I hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. And then I immediately disappeared off the face of the earth because of the camera issues and house construction. And I lost a couple of subscribers, but I'm still over 1,000. I've also been getting really sick because we are having a lot of construction done on the basement, and they were grinding away a concrete wall, but the ventilation in the house was messed up, so a lot of concrete dust was just ejected into my lungs and Ryan's lungs and our pet's lungs, and I don't feel well. I also noticed that my nose ring is turning my nose green, which is like so cool. So great that that's happening. But despite all of that, today's video is a requested video. I've been doing a couple videos in a series of fantasy books that you have not heard of, and I've done 2 installments of that, but I asked if there were any other genres you wanted to talk about, and you guys said sci-fi, and I am a sci-fi girly, so I do actually have a few book recommendations for you today. There were so many books I could have included on this list. It was actually really hard to narrow it down, but I decided to do kind of entry-level books, respectfully, entry-level books into the sci-fi genre, because a lot of my channel so far has been fantasy based and I don't have a ton of sci-fi readers subscribed to me that I'm aware of. So I've got a lot of books here that are really good if you are currently super into fantasy and you want to start sci-fi. They're kind of crossovers. Later on in this series, I want to do more deep dives into different subgenres, and I have like a ton of dystopian sci-fi books I want to talk about, but we're not there yet. So let's just get to it. The first book I have for you, you probably have heard of if you've been watching my channel for a little while, because I've talked about it a few times. It's a book that I am shocked is not more popular, but I get it because it's hard to market sci-fi. It's the Jinn-Bot of Shanitport by Samit Basu. This is inspired by Aladdin. And our main character, Lena, is living in this spaceport, kind of a dead-end situation. She's living there with her brother, who is a monkey robot. Lena and her brother are coerced into working for a sort of shady tech billionaire to retrieve an item, and along the way they meet a piece of sentient technology that's able to grant 3 wishes. Can you see the Aladdin inspiration? This really is a fantasy story, but with space and tech and Middle Eastern twists in there. I would definitely recommend this to fantasy readers who are interested in dipping their toes into sci-fi and speculative fiction. This is a good one for you. Next up, I have an entry that is from a prolific fantasy writer. It's Kate Elliott with The Keeper's 6. This is a really recent release, but Kate Elliott has been around for a while. Again, this is a fantasy story, but with tech and science involved, so I'm including it in the sci-fi genre. There's a lot of books that really do blur the lines, and it's hard to say, but I think it's a good one for trying out science fiction. This is also an entry in a sort of trope that we're seeing a lot more of recently, which is older, middle-aged female POV characters, main characters leading the charge on adventures. They're not just moms. I mean, she is a mom, but she's still the main character. So Esther, the main character, used to be part of, not a criminal group, but you know, an adventuring party, and they would world hop and do stuff. They've gone their separate ways by this time. She's living her own life when in the middle of the night she finds out that her adult son has been kidnapped by a dragon lord. She sort of has to get the old band back together to world hop again, go through these portals to find her son. We've got dragons, we've got interdimensional travel. Check it out. Next, whoa, we have a book that I think is good for you if you have been watching Fallout. Why? They're not really connected, but I started watching Fallout and it made me think of this book. Tonally. Sillily. What? Sillily? Soliloquy. No. It's Wild Massive by Scott O'More. Again, this is a book that I feel like should be popular, but sci-fi is just hard to market. You guys don't want it, and you're wrong. This also makes me think of Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I just finished reading. Again, tonally, but this is the story of, in this world. There is an infinitely tall skyscraper where every single floor is a different dimension, and people live in those different dimensions and they can travel between them. Our main character, Carissa, lives in an elevator, traveling up and down the skyscraper, and she's perfectly content to just live in her elevator, mind her own business. But one day, a shapeshifter lands on the top of her elevator and informs her of this plot, this scheme to destroy hundreds of floors of the skyscraper, essentially like killing a lot of people. So she gets embroiled in this plot, and she has to leave her elevator for the first time and enter Wild Massive, which is a dimension of theme parks, a network of theme parks. And it's very much Loki coded Cabin in the Woods, if you know the twist in Cabin in the Woods. It's very fun. My parents just arrived, but I'm gonna keep filming and ignore my family. The next book I have for you, we are leaving the realm of the fun, goofy, silly books and into some more serious books. I have here an arc of Full Immersion by Gemma Amor. The final copy did come out a couple of years ago, and it looks exactly the same. It just doesn't have this proof copy label. This is a sci-fi, horror, thriller, psychological situation. A traumatized woman wakes up with amnesia, not knowing what is going on, and she finds her own dead body. This sort of triggers a quest for her to solve her own murder and figure out what is going on, why she can't trust herself, can't trust reality, is she even in the right reality, etc., etc. It's really good for fans of Jeff Vandermeer, I would say, as well as Black Mirror, that sort of thing. And because this was published in 2022, kind of when Angry Robot was restarting their ascent into popularity, this one kind of got missed. If it came out now, I think it would be much more popular, but I would recommend checking it out. I have another Angry Robot book here, actually. I didn't realize I had two, but I've got Bluebird by C.L. Pirlo. This was sent to me as well by Angry Robot. They were actually sending me her newest book, The Hunter's Gambit, which is a vampire locked room mystery, but they were delayed sending that out, so they sent out copies of Bluebird, her previous book, as sort of a placeholder appetizer situation for C.L. Pirlo's writing. This is really great for fans of Becky Chambers, I would say. It is a queer space pirate novel that, like, the vibes are the same as Becky Chambers' books. Rig, our main character, is a gunslinging outlaw space pirate, as I said, and she's been doing this sort of cat and mouse game with the government faction here for a while, but things become very serious when she realizes that her sister has been taken hostage, and they are going to kill her sister if she doesn't give them this object that she apparently has. So Rig and her librarian girlfriend and a bounty hunter and her crew set off on this adventure to rescue the sister and figure out what the heck is going on. And they literally use the phrase "be gay, do crime" in the blurb on the back, which is a little, they really did that. They really just put a meme on the back of the book, but hey, it's a good meme. Swinging back to horror for a second, I kind of did these out of order. I wasn't paying attention. I have a sci-fi horror from one of my favorite authors, Caitlin Starling. It is The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. This book is excellent for anyone who's a fan of extreme environments and like claustrophobic books, which I adore. I'm a huge fan of those. This has the classic tropes of things like Alien and Dead Silence and Gravity and The Martian, where a person is doing science things and they're trapped somewhere and things go wrong, except that it's set underground, a la The Descent. So the main character, Geir Price, she takes this job. She sort of lies her way into a job in order to just make a quick buck. And she thinks she's gonna be mining mineral deposits underground, but while on the job, things quickly start getting very sus. Things go missing, things are weird, everything's not as it seems, and she really is trapped down there with something super spooky and awful, and it's fantastic. And I love this one because despite being a creepy, ghosty horror, it is also filled with science, and it's like, I didn't want to include any hard sci-fi on here because you're not ready for hard sci-fi, but this is the closest I would say we're getting to hard sci-fi while still being a genre you know about, which is horror. And the final book, book number 7. This one I saved for last because it feels the most epic, and it is the one I'm the most surprised did not blow up. Because yes, it's sci-fi, but it feels like it should have been akin to Dune and things like that, so I'm shocked. it was gonna be a big deal. It's the Stars Undying by Emery Robin, and this came out by Orbit, and they put it out directly into hardcover, which usually for Orbit means they think it's gonna blow up, because most of their books they just put out in paperback first. It's a space empire, politicking, scheming book inspired by or based on the stories of both Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. So it's based on the rise and fall of Egypt and Rome. And like I said, it feels very Dune to me. It's also queer, which we love. And look at this cover. But I don't know, I saw a bunch of hype leading up to this. I bought this myself right when it came out. I haven't read it yet, but I thought it was gonna be big, and then it just kind of came and went. So I'm kind of curious to know if you have read this. It's the first book in a new series, Empire Without End, and honestly, picking it up again kind of makes me want to read it, so I might bump this up to TBR a little. But let me know if you've read this, because it sounds awesome. It sounds like politics and interplanetary space stuff. And it says perfect for readers of Anne Leckie and Arcady Martine. And this really is the only space opera I put on here, because I also don't think you're ready for space operas. That can be another video later, 7 space operas you haven't heard of, because boy do I have those for you as well. So anyways, those were 7 entry-level sci-fi books that you haven't heard of. I did try to mix up the subgenres of the sci-fi so that you can hopefully find something you like in this list. Let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these, or if there are any like favorite sci-fis of yours you think should be on this list. I'm definitely planning a dystopian sci-fi video for later, a military sci-fi, space operas as I said, and we're gonna do more just fantasy subgenres and horror, because never forget that I am a horror girly. Before I go, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell icon so you know when I upload new videos. I upload 2 days a week. I love you guys. Goodbye.